good luck to both teams. I hope you learn stuff from this experience and, you know, keep moving forward. So we got both teams pushing up in an orderly fashion. Connor, LS and Wigglesworth holding down lane. He's going to challenge Royadovi, and Wigglesworth 4949 does take out Royadovi. Young Pervert CZ just holding that position, but might get challenged by Artemis if he's not careful. Artemis just swings it and catches him. It's looking really good for for RGN at the moment, but Vladerick and Artemis do trade, with Artemis only downed, which now brings it to a 2 versus 4 situation, where we have 3 RGN members stacking along the east side of the map. Smoke goes in, Partisan's kind of blocked in terms of view. The revive goes down from Connor Ellis and Artemis, but Strelok is in quite a nice position to catch them out. If he just pushes up a bit. But the two do hear it. Connor does get down to a trade, but Artemis is able to res him very quickly, bringing it down to a 1 versus 5 situation. Not looking good for BRSEK. Partisan should get down to objective. If Artemis could get the cap, could be quite easy for him to do so. Partisan is thankfully moving back to objective, but does trade with Connor, which means the cap does not come from RGN. It was quite a hectic first round, to be honest. We saw a lot coming out from RGN. I did not actually expect to see that, as BRSEK are a really good team. So yeah, we've got Artemis RPO with 3 kills, Connor with 1, and Wiggles with 1. And only Partisan did get a kill that round, but it was a great sacrifice at the end to make sure they didn't cap. So good sense from Partisan. Looks like discussions are going on in RGN, not specific locations they're talking about. Yeah, now that they've cleared that up, they could set up a nice defense for BRSEK to go against. So a rather slow play from Ryadovoy, who's just holding that angle, making sure no one can get around. But although it does look like Artemis could be punished by that if he's watching the right angle, if Artemis does push up. But we got Vladik just holding the push, I believe, mentally preparing for what's next. And Strelok and Partisan just holding down that line of sight, making sure no one can challenge that. They might catch Connor, who peeks his head open, but Strelok doesn't quite get him, unfortunately. Wants the smokes to go in. Holding that so Connor cannot move. He's pinned down, and he does catch Connor on his slow peak. We've got Vladik pushing up the east side of the map. Strelok does pick another one with a headshot. Nice kill there. The smokes do come down, which means they are technically safe to push up, but K2Z will maybe catch them out. K2Z being the team captain of RGN. Strelok could be challenging rather soon. And still, there's not much going on the east side of the map. They're just holding the angle, make sure no flanks come out. Good flank denial. Don't want people roaming and wiping out the team from the back line. So quite a smart play from BRSEK. They've got 4 minutes left on the clock, so they can take as much time as they want. Doesn't look like K2Z is going to commit to the full push, but he might have got information about Strelok when he just peeked out for a second, although unlikely. Partisan giving out callouts, although can't believe he's talking about the truth of a drone. Although my Russian is not the best in the world, so don't quote me on that. But actually, it's probably wrong. So Strelok pushing up. Kato Z will hear Strelok if he goes any closer. So he's got to be wary of Strelok's position and react accordingly if he wants to punish it. But Strelok is playing safe, and we've got Partisan watching that line of sight, making sure no one can catch him out if they try and peek from that container. Strelok's still slow pushing, but Kato does seem to be with a C4, ready to C4 toss if he hears anybody. Quite an inventive move, I would comment on that. As he did lose his teammate, he can expect the west push. As soon as he hears those footsteps, the C4 toss could come out, although Strelok is not fully committing. Actually, yes he is, as he does near Kato Z, but will Wigglesworth peek it first, and he does decide to swing it, and he catches, oh, doesn't catch Strelok, Strelok catches him, which means Kato Z has the information needed, but unfortunately does buff the C4, and unfortunately kills himself. Oh, what a nightmare for Kato. I mean, it happens to everybody, but here we have Toru left on objective. If he's not careful, BRSEK could get to that uplink without him seeing. So yeah. BRSEK with the MK17. The smokes do go in, which means Toru has to rotate. It does look like he's going to do so. But Riyad Devoy does get that cap before Toru could do anything, which is very, very smart smokes and very smart denial, especially with the kill count at 4. It's very worth going for that cap, and it definitely paid off. So that's 2-1 to BRSEK. Well, there's always room for a comeback from RGN on this map, as it is rather small. And the scores on small maps tend to be very volatile. You can bring back, for example, a cargo match from a 3-0. It's happened many times. So we'll see what RGN can do here, and what BRSEK will do for their next defense. The uplink is in this area now, which is quite an open area, so it'd be slightly more difficult to cap in that area. But if, for example, someone is watching the east side in the last alive, we can see the cap happening quite easily, especially with some smoke grenades. As we jump back into the arena. I could expect RGN to see a different approach with this attack, especially after getting capped on. They might get their revenge. Remembering the VRML rules, very respectable. So they're actually pushing up quite a bit further than they did before, holding those long angles. Strelok could be getting ready to challenge Artemis if he peeks out, but he's playing it safe. Vladik is holding the long angle through here, which is quite smart, so no one can get past him, although doesn't commit to it as much as he probably should. So I have Vladik and Partisan just holding that area. Smokes do come in from, I believe, Connor, maybe Toru. Artemis does get Strelok, but Vladik punishes 2 people, Connor and Artemis, for doing that and playing that aggressively. Rez is likely to go down, as it does. Vladik does get Strelok back up, who did phase through the wall, but that's just the game for you. So we got Kato Z pushing through the east side, sort of holding their same way. The grenade does come down, and it is a good grenade, gets Young Pervert, and Toru is punished by Vladik. Some really good angle game coming out from BRSEK in this defense. And it looks like the C4 gets Wiggle. Very, very nice C4. And yeah, that's the end of the round. BRSEK bringing it to a 3-1. Could be setting up to secure the victory. We've got Artemis on the top frag for RGN, and we've actually got quite a balance in the BRSEK side with Vladik, Strelok and Partisan and Pervert doing their job. So we're seeing a lot of team play from BRSEK. And I mean, Artemis is going for the ballsy plays, but he has been punished quite a bit. Actually, Kato probably has a kill, but it probably got denied as he killed himself with the C4, unfortunately. He shouldn't have been so hasty with the trigger, really. But, you know, that's quite a hard angle to throw it at, so it is fine. I've got to get that fixed, but obviously money is not at the highest point, so I've got to make do at the moment. I'm just sticking to scrims to the most part. Bit of rude words coming out from the Russians, but also a drone, so that'll be interesting to see how that works. I've lost my overlay. There you go. Right, so Vadik holding the pixel peak, but don't think it's going to get him anywhere. We got Radovoy just holding that sort of area. I mean, there's a lot of passive play coming down from BRSEK. Really, they're probably waiting from intel from the drone, which I can't particularly see. We got Connor holding a long line of sight to make sure he can catch anybody that tries to go through that area. Wiggles pushing up a bit. Could catch Strelok if he comes further past this barricade. But Strelok is holding the really long angle, making sure he can take his long range fights to anybody going through the west flank. But unfortunately for him, there's nobody really doing that. We've got Vladik slowly taking the east side through the containers. Probably still waiting for intel. A grenade is going to come out from Toru. And it could be a 50-50 on whether it is going to be effective or not. It's a nice grenade, but unfortunately it's a little bit short because the conventional method Toru is to go underhand, because your throwing does get amplified by about 2 or 3 times. So we've got Wiggles just holding that area, waiting for audio intel, but Radovoy is really pushing up, making a lot of noise. He's got to challenge Wiggles, tablet out, and it is a trade. Both parties dying there. Strelok throwing a grenade. If it just went over that container, it would be perfect, but unfortunately it does get stuck up there. The smoke game is coming out from BRSEK. It's known to see this in the past few rounds. Strelok is going to use that to push up and elevate his push, but Artemis is going to swing down lane, but doesn't quite see Partisan, as Partisan is holding a really nice angle there. We got Young Pervert just going past, but does get caught out by Connor, who's holding an excellent angle, although if the smoke was in an ideal location, he wouldn't have got caught there. Vladik slow pushing up through east. Toru could be able to punish him if Vladik does not hear him. Strelok about to challenge Artemis, and does, with no repercussions from that peak, which brings it down to a 3v3. And we still have Partisan. Actually, Partisan is pushing up now. Vladik does get Toru, winning that fight, but doesn't confirm him, unfortunately. Kato Z and Connor actually holding the back lines there, but Vladik does challenge Connor and does win it, which does bring it down to a 1 versus 3 situation. But Strelok does get caught by Kato, my bad, and Partisan is looking to punish that, although he does not have the height and angle to do so. Kato does make a lot of noise because he's getting wary around objective. But if Vladik does cut in, could be open season for him to pick off Kato, who's out in the open for Vladik. And it does happen as I predicted, with a headshot from Vladik. Excellent attack from BRSEK, using their time wisely and using smoke grenades quite efficiently as well. Vladik is playing very well at the moment with 6 kills. He likes to take his slow push up and make sure he gets his intel before he does a peek. They've got the desert setting of downfall. And it does look like, I believe, a quick spawn. Which means, yeah, the round does start and 2 players already pushed up without being punished to Chapel and, well, Connor is getting punished but unfortunately doesn't die. Kato is caught out by Vladik already, but Connor is in actually quite a power spot to actually take out any of the BRSEK team, although it could be called out quite easily as he has already been seen by Vladik. Shots do come out from, I believe, Young Pervert. And it does look like I have spotted Connor, who's already out in the open. Do not want to be out in the open like that. Although it's unexpected, you can get caught out quite quickly. He's covered by the terrain at the moment, but if he peeks out too much, it's very easy for him to get caught out, like Riyadavoy should have gotten. So the positioning, I'd recommend he be behind this rock and take that cover and hold that position, because it's quite a powerful position. And Riyadavoy does catch out Connor, bringing it down to a 2 versus 5 situation. Toru in objective up a dumpster, and Wigglesworth in White House. However, if BRSEK were to push up, it'd be drastic because Toru wouldn't be able to rotate in time to prevent the gap. Partisan is just clearing out as many windows as possible, just to eliminate any opportunity for people to peek him from afar. Toru is holding a nice angle, which should be able to catch out Riyadavoy if he does push up, but unfortunately doesn't get him, and Riyadavoy is able to get behind that wall, which almost does secure BRSEK the cap unless Toru can rotate quick enough. Toru should be out of that building and just defending the cap, calling out for Wigglesworth to do the same. Riyadavoy tablet out, ready for the cap, and it doesn't look like RGN can do much about it. And that is 2 points already for BRSEK. Unfortunately, it's not a quick spawn, although BRSEK are questioning the quick spawn possibility. But it looks like it could be a full south push. Not full south push, although 3 in Valley. Respectable move. Able to cover multiple different angles, but Strelok and Vladik are in a power position. Strelok does get Artemis immediately. Toru and Kato Z do not decide to challenge that, as Strelok has high ground. Well, the smoke goes out. Quite a good smoke in order to get Artemis up, but Vladik does unfortunately see through it for RGN. It's a bit too low for Artemis to be covered by it, and Vladik does get Toru. Very unfortunate way that the smoke covers Artemis, but that is what it is. If it was a bit higher, it could have maybe done a bit more to conceal them. But now it's 2 versus 5. We have Wiggles and Connor doing a north push. towards this lower dumpster objective. They have as much time as they want. They have 4 minutes 50 on the clock, which means they can wait for BRSEK to get aggressive, possibly, although unlikely because it's downfall. So they've got to play safe. They've got to conserve as many players as possible. Like, you don't want it to be a 1 versus 5, otherwise it's almost a guaranteed loss, unless they can do a sneak and possibly cap. Connor checks his tablet and sees there's only 2. Ready to make a decision, although Pervert could catch them out, although he's looking the other way. Pervert probably should have just caught a glimpse of Wiggles, although probably couldn't do much about it because of the angle and how hard that shot would be to hit. Wiggles and Connor covering each other, sort of holding multiple different angles just to make sure I don't get peeked from somewhere afar, although Shrellock is in a very powerful position. Looks like C4 comes out. Shrellock with a lovely shot does get the headshot on Wiggles, which leaves Connor in a 1 versus 5 situation. Connor does have to push up, but Partizan's pretty much ready to see him if he does make any moves. So it looks like he's a bit deadlocked here, especially as Ryadavoy is coming around. But BRSEK and Young Pervert do a collaboration in order to kill Connor, and BRSEK do get the round. That's rather infuriating. There you go. So it's like the objective is just in front of, there will be a frame drop, in front of this building, and looks like he's caught with an M249, quite an inaccurate gun, Wigglesworth is, and Toru has to hold his objective, but Toru is unable to peek because of the domination that the LMG is causing against the enemy team. Kato is doing a rather risky peek, does get challenged by Vladik, but decides to not go for that because it's sort of an unwinnable challenge. Partizan's still in that top building, quite a strong position to hold. There are some things going along with the stream, but still have Vladik in the power position, Young Pervert to help him, although Pervert could get picked rather easily. Artemis does decide to swing it. We got Partizan needing to reload his LMG, he's fired so much. He's causing a lot of havoc for RGN with the LMG play, although I believe Artemis is challenging it, but to no extent. Partizan is using the role of suppression, although the accuracy is not on point. It is helping as Artemis is going to be a little bit less risky on that peak. Looks like random shots are going out just to make sure that Vladik and Pervert can do their thing, while Strelok and Ryadavoy do go round middle and the south. So it'd be interesting to see if Ryadavoy can get another cap, although Strelok does get on top of that barbed wire spot and take out Connor with a trade, that is. Got 2 people in the same building, Toru holding that, Young Pervert in a good position to challenge it, with only his head peeking, so it'll be risky for them to do anything. A lot of suppression is going down on that building, so the ability to do stuff. Oh, it does look like Artemis does get Connor back up, which is huge for RGN, as it now brings it back up to a 44, and Connor is watching exactly the right spot to catch Ryadavoy if he does decide to go a bit closer to objective. That rotation could be very good for Connor in order to catch out Ryadavoy. Ryadavoy could actually get Artemis. Connor looking very close to Ryadavoy. He's got to be careful here. Ryadavoy definitely hears him. Both Connor swings this right, and he doesn't, unfortunately, again, Ryadovoy does take him out, bringing it to a 3 versus 4 situation. Will Kato Z be able to notice Ryadovoy? Unfortunately, dramatically, he does not peek the right window to see him. Although Kato Z does get a nice shot on Pervert from that window. It looks like my game has in fact crashed, which means I will be restarting, and unfortunately, well, fortunately for BRSEK, they do win the 4-0 lead, but my game has become unplayable, so I will restart. So I'll see you in a minute. Can't dodge the unavoidable. So we got BRSEK defending the lane 1 objective. It's quite an objective to defend as lots of things go down quickly. We have RGN pushing with Wigglesworth on lane 1, looking to challenge Strelok. Also Strelok does back away from lane 1. Ryadovoy taking the bush. Connor already taking middle open house, a very good move to really get angles down. We got Ryadovoy just holding that bush area. Artemis Pro does get Vladic from behind the red car, although Young Pervert could be there to challenge it. And does not die from Strelok, but does get picked up by Young Pervert on the Swiss CT. We have Wigglesworth pushing forward quite aggressively. But the only person who's got to worry about is Ryadovoy, who's got a swing and does win it, surprisingly, using an MP5, but I mean, it's a budget gun, but it has the lowest time to kill. And then gets Strelok with it. Only with it down, unfortunately, so he's got to compare that. So, callouts have come out, Partisan and Young Pervert ready to rotate. He gets greedy and confirms that kill, Partisan could punish him. But Wigglesworth, on an absolute rampage, does get Partisan, leaving it 1 left for BRSEK. Only person left to challenge is Young Pervert in a 4 versus 1 situation. Utility comes out from Young Pervert, but Wigglesworth has the sufficient cover. All he has to do is let Kato Z with the M16 just take out Young Pervert. It is a flawless attack from RGN. And we have, obviously, Wigglesworth on an absolute terror, causing havoc with the MP5. With the suppress. Maybe it's the suppression that caught BRSEK off guard. This is not a heavily run thing, but if it's viable and there's not much noise going down, people from over here, like Young Pervert, may not be able to hear the commotion going on in lane 1. So we have Partisan and Young Pervert. Oh, the whole 5 looking to go together, splitting up. We have Ryadovoy on lane 1 challenge with Vladic going through the lane 2. Ryadovoy is playing safe. He doesn't want to peek too long because he might lose that fight. Kato Z behind the Humvee, but is pressured by Strelok, who has the better position inside the mid-house, a very strong point to have. But Connor does look like he's going to be responding to those shots and has the ability to take out Partisan in this situation. If he plays his cards right. But we have Strelok just holding lane 1, locking it down. And Young Pervert does get Artemis from behind the red car. Is he able to get Connor, who throws utility, namely a flash? But it looks like he's going to back away from the fight. No, he's not going to back away the fight, he's going to peek it, but unfortunately Young Pervert is not there to challenge it or repeat. But if he does peek slowly, he's going to get caught out by Connor, but doesn't because his gunplay is exceptional there. And does respond to that peek from, I believe it was Artemis. No, Connor. Strelok throwing smokes in to actually quite a great effect. Looking to push through and maybe catch out Wiggles, but he won't actually see Wiggles because he's behind a bush. Wiggles is actually holding quite a strong position. It's going to be interesting to see, will Pervert be able to catch out anybody from lane 1? Looks like Wiggles could be sticking his leg out slightly. Free fire goes down for the front porches, but Vladik putting more smoke in, which does deny Toru vision to an extent. But it looks like Strelok is going to be challenged by Wiggles. Looks like Toru's trying for the pick, but does get caught out by the two, namely Vladik, which leaves Wigglesworth to defend the cap in a 1 versus 5 situation. Possibly not with a kill count either, as no one was able to confirm any kills. He's got to assume the worst here. More smoke coming in. Looks like the whole team is taking smokes. Will BRSEK be able to take the cap? They know that they've got 5 to do it. They've got the resources. Partisan with a pre-fire. Vladik just crossing, but Wiggles does not see him because of the angle he's holding. But Ryadavoy does get greedy and try to go for the cap and does get taken out immediately by Wiggles. Looks like BRSEK are getting suspicious of Wiggles' position. And it looks like a team kill comes out from Vladik to Young Pervert. A reaction team kill. It's going well for Wiggles at the moment. It's for a 1 versus 2 situation. Gets Partisan. If Vladik gets too aggressive, Wiggles will see him. Although he's not peeking it, it looks like it could be a cap. Unfortunately for Wiggles, Vladik is in a position and just sneaks past and gets that cap. Although he's taking his time. Yeah, and that's, as I called it, Strelok just creeping up on Wiggles after the round. If only Wiggles was watching for that extra second, it could have gone down to a 1v1 and maybe shifted the tide with a full clutch from Wiggles. That'd definitely be exciting to see. He did play his cards well, but unfortunately he wasn't there to defend the cap. Which is respectable, but at that point, maybe sacrificing could be the best option if you do not have a kill count. But yeah, respectable play, and was definitely winnable for RGN in that round. Well done to BRSEK for playing right there and getting across safely to get that cap. So all 3 are holding. Actually, it's a middle house objective. This is a very turbulent objective. So you can see Vladik holding from the outside. We have Young Pervert holding the bottom floor from outside, although it goes back in to make sure no one gets in. Pervert, very tall actually, does come in to hold that area in the bottom floor. Doesn't know that it's any rush play from RGN. That's to be expected from a new-ish team. Kato is trying to challenge that. A beautiful grenade goes in, but it doesn't look like it's going to catch anybody. If only Ryadavoy was in that room. That was a very nice thread through the window. But Connor does take out Young Pervert as he gets aggressive. Very nice patience from Connor. And the grenade from Young Pervert does unfortunately confirm his death and does not get Connor. Kato does get Vladik from outside in a close quarters situation. It's only left for Partisan in a 1 versus 2 situation. Strelok does get... Oh. Looks like Strelok does trade. I believe 2 people traded there. Strelok did try and play his hardest to win that fight, but does get refragged instantly by RGN. As I said, it was a very turbulent objective, so it's hard to record what happened there. We can rewatch it and see how you played afterwards. Both teams tried to play their hands right, but RGN did get the upper hand as the attacking team. And I believe it was Pervert who did get aggressive and did get punished for it. The objective is Centre House. It'll be interesting to see what BRSEK will do to attack this objective. So I'm saying do the pre-fire. That's what I interpreted. Vadik looked like he's going full nuts to butts, and it looks like they're all stacking on house objective. There's one in the back spawn house and one behind the tank. Kato Z pushed up a bit, get caught out from Partisan quite with ease. Trying to get ready. It's a 5-4 situation already for BRSEK.
Минус.
Vladik on the angle, make sure no one's Osmus could have caught Vladik
Подтвердил.
at the right time. But it looks like Vladik has to attack this slowly, and the smoke's in there. It's like so we got Vladik just how do you pronounce bloody? I don't know. It looks like the smoke is going out. I'd like to know the reasoning for that smoke, but the other one does catch up on the small house. For Vladik to take control of the house as he was going to do just now. Toro really has to make a move if he's going to catch out Vladik. Shredder catches or trades of some kind was. He's able to get Connor.
Я иду поднимать иду.
He's able to get Connor and Tori's not able to respond. This will be a free cap for BRSEK, ending the game. All Radic's got to do is play ballsy at this point. He's playing stealthily, but Connor's holding that area from the back. Radic waiting for Connor to crazy, but doesn't quite, and he does challenge it, which means Radic is able to push up and get the cap if Toro is not able to respond. Toro looks like he's ready to come back to objective and could catch Vladik as he's leaving the stairs, and does, thankfully for RGN. Toro ready to get back up the stairs and hold that objective. Excellent move from Toro. Getting to that objective and making sure no caps come down. If Vladik played a little bit faster, he could have got in there and got that cap. But there's always even hindsight in these situations, and it's stealth over speed. Shredder creeping close to objective, 4 versus 1 situation, Partisan holding the road, while people holding the outside, making sure the back room is not an option for RGN. Shredder is going to push up a little bit. Grenade eventually coming out, Shredder challenging that roof to a no avail as there is a smoke in the way. Though he does catch a bit of the could be a team kill from Partisan and Shredder. Looks like Pervert is now in the bottom room. Radavoy joining him in the fray. And they've just got a challenge Toro through that smoke. Almost a team kill as Radavoy's side does go over. And he doesn't look for where Toro's going. It's quite a predictable spot. We've just got young Pervert left and Shredder to challenge that objective, but Partisan is creeping closer. It looks like Toro's getting a little bit late to get him on his start. Out by young Pervert quite easily. He's got a really hard triangle and does get caught out by Shredder as he goes on his way to the front of the building. I think
видел, он просто как выстреливался.
from here
Наконец-то задымили, я не видел ничего вообще.
here.
Я шел,
Я
я
опять
шел,
тебя убил, блядь. До этого Влад еще
There.
убил.
Or from this area, although this is not an option as
Ну это
Я
просто
тоже, я опять
мой...
убил.
Я, конечно, командую по полной
some
программе
cover,
своих.
element of cover, making
Снимаем
sure we get
поаккуратнее,
this
потому что
spot
вот
as
прицел задымили, я ничего не видел на лестнице. Я его закапываю, прицел на
and
лестнице.
making sure that everything is controlled. Obviously, the move being in spawn house was a good move, although I believe it was Artemis who lost the fight to Vladik, I believe. Oh no, it was Vladik boy, and that allowed the upstairs play to be and the downstairs play to be quite easy for BRSEK in that round. So one thing to note for RGN is to just play safe and just hold the house, don't hold everything else. Although alternatively you can have people on the outside of the house holding certain angles, possibly around here, making sure no one can come in through the front, or around here, making sure no one can just speed in if you can get to this place. Obviously these are just possibly invalid examples, but having people outside and in leaves confusion in the attacking side, as they've got to take into account many different angles and factors in order to push that house. The next round is about to start. I've been talking for a very long time. So it's this objective now, which means I believe it is a quick spawn. And we've got some lovely, beautiful voice.
Не по этой дороге могут сразу появиться и сделали что-нибудь.
Перебегут, сразу кричи, дорогу перебежали, сразу сообщи.
That is the question right now.
С дороги сразу уходим, с дороги сразу все уходим.
Sherlock saying go, 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 because he does not want them to die for spawn bait. The other boy just slashed TPs across.
Да блять.
Sherlock is able to punish one spawn peeker, but will he be able to get...
Да блять.
Possibly so,
Дважды да
but
блять, да
Vladik
ёбаный в
able
рот,
to
что за
challenge
хуйня.
Ах ты, сука.
quite quickly. Vladik should
Да
be able to
твою
catch
мать,
something
ёб
else,
твою мать, что вообще происходит?
which means it's only 2 versus 5 for the Black, 2 versus 4 make that, as Kato Z
Вы не поверите, меня выкинуло, блядь.
they've got Challenger versus Strelok, who's a very capable
Да.
player. It looks like Strelok doesn't quite get Toru. Absolutely excellent nade. Absolutely stunning, forcing Strelok to reposition. If it was just cooked a bit more, he would have no choice but to die. But it looks like Kato Z is playing a little bit slower. But we have Vladik and Young Pervert cutting into the defense. Strelok forced to reposition, whether he could gain his position back if he wanted to. That nade was absolutely phenomenal, but unfortunately it did not pick him up. Some prime positioning, where Vladik is taking the wide flank, which means he's able to catch the 2 out with ease. If it just comes round, it's going to be rather unexpected to see. Strelok gets Kato Z, and Vladik does clean up Toru, which means it's only there's nobody left. The round has not ended. Oh, there has been a glitch, which means, well, I believe BRSEK have won this game without losing any maps. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was it. I guess they have to wait for the timer to run down. So it'll be entertaining to see the dialogue between the team. Oh man. If they had an active kill count, then they could deduce that there's nobody left. But obviously, no one's going to risk it and reset the round. Unfortunately, Partisan did die to a glitch. I believe his headset must have frozen or something in the middle of the road, which is the worst spot to freeze. Which means BRSEK could have flawlessly done that, but there you have it. That's how the round went. Maybe Partisan caused the game to completely die, and now, tragically, BRSEK have to wait 3 minutes and 10 seconds. So enjoy the party while we're here, and the comical game bugs that come with Onward. But Хорошая игра to BRSEK and good game to RGN. Well played to both teams. So yeah, have fun. I've got my Russian exam on Tuesday, so I've got to revise for Russian. So deal with it. So we got Vladik just kind of just vibing in the house, maybe set up shop, maybe have a sleep on the bed. Hilariously enough, BRSEK is still going to have to play passively in order to prevent any threat, although there is none. Let's see what Strelok is up to. I mean, they're doing what should be done, although there's been some aggressive play from Vladik. Where is the fourth player? We got Strelok, Vladik, we've got Herbert. I actually have zero idea where their fourth player is. Maybe he dropped, probably likely. Hilariously enough, that is how it goes, and I don't think BRSEK are going to be checking Discord because they're in a match, obviously. And I can expect the worst from RGN as they have played slow-ish in the past. But yeah, there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Hilarious bug. There's not much to say. Enjoy the show. Looks like BRSEK have sussed it out and have decided to team kill. Hilarious enough. Right, we'll say that BRSEK won that, so it's 3-4. GG to both teams. BRSEK couldn't handle the pain of waiting any longer. So well played to both teams. RGN, we put in a show on. They played definitely well and respectable to see them show up. Thank you for both teams for turning up on time and getting readied up very quickly. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Tune in for any other scrims that I'll do in the next week. And yeah, ciao lads.